What's up, and welcome to episode 3 of Player Coach Connection. Today, we are going to talk about NIL, joined by my wonderful colleagues over here. We got Matt Williams, fellow co-founder of Player Coach Connection, and Bryce Carlton, who is really he really just kind of does everything. But he's kind of leading our NIL endeavors as it pertains. So, all right, guys. So let's talk about NIL. What exactly is NIL?
Yeah, I would say through our experience so far, the past, I would say 4 to 5 months, kind of breaking into NIL and talking with athletes and coaches and, administrators and all the people that we've talked to is, and there's a lot of unknowns still. People are trying to figure it out. I think companies are trying to figure it out. I think advertisers are trying to figure it out. Athletes, sport programs, administrations, coaches, everybody. So it's all brand new. I think it's very fluid. I think what's going on right now will probably change in some ways in the future. And, but I think that's the cool part about us, getting into it early is that we can learn, figure out the best way to do certain things. And then as, there's rule changes or things like that within the NCAA, we can adjust and, continue to grow. So for me, there's just a lot to learn and it's exciting trying to figure it all out.
So NIL, for those that don't know, NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. So basically it is, if you are a college athlete, you can now get endorsement deals is what it breaks down to. Now there's limitations on that. You can't endorse anything where it comes to alcohol, drugs, sex or violence and things like that. But you can now get a clothing deal, a shoe deal. I know Nike, I don't know if you guys saw that, Bronny and five others, 5 kids got Nike deals today, and Bronny James was one of them. So, it's big time stuff right now, and anyone can do it. I mean, any business can do it. That's kind of the cool part.
Yeah, I think it's cool how obviously the top elite players in high school will be able to benefit from it, and then a whole bunch of college athletes on, both the men's and the women's side, and probably, hopefully for them, in a bunch of sports as time goes on. So it's, obviously we've all been in coaching for whatever, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So you even look back 10 years ago, like the idea of athletes ever making money was, everybody would talk about it, but, we'd always be around older coaches and, oh, that'll never happen. No, there's no way. And then now it's here, it's expanding, and really, really fast.
Well, I mean,
so
don't you
it's interesting to see.
I mean, but don't you guys think that the NCAA had to do it? I mean, I don't know. At the NAIA level, I mean, and 4-year level, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. You got big time players. I mean, you kind of just have to let them. I mean, the amount of money that college coaches at the highest of high levels are making, like these kids should be profiting a little bit anyway,
Yeah, man, I think you think about someone like the past athletes, like I watched that Manti Te'o documentary on Netflix a couple of weeks ago. I was like, people forget like how big of a name he was, or like a Tim Tebow, or some of these guys that Johnny Manziel, like think about how much money they would have made in NIL, and they're, those schools made crazy amounts based off those guys. I mean, so why not? Like if people are willing to buy your jersey or, pay to get your autograph or whatever it might be. I mean, I feel like it's fair that, you're putting the work in and you're helping the program, you're helping the school make money. I think you should be able to profit off your own image. I think that's definitely something that should happen for those athletes.
Yeah, and building off that, and it's so much fun to see this, kind of develop with our website and our program, is how even at the small market level, how guys, at the smaller division 1s or division 2s, how marketable they really are. Because, as coaches, we know in every sport, there's so much fanfare and love in each region that it's, a lot, like you said, the Johnny Manziels of the world take a large sum of that. And that is what I think the initial reaction to NIL was for a lot of us, for a lot of even us in the business. Wow, players at Kentucky are really going to benefit from this. Alabama football is really going to benefit. But, these couple months have shown me so much, just at the small market level, how businesses are willing to get behind these players, because, that's for a 9-year-old driving down the street. Sometimes, a small level or a smaller team is their dream, and, that markets to them. So that's a lot of fun too, just seeing how businesses and communities can rally around, a small team that they've loved for years and didn't know how to help. And now, it's right there with them.
Well, and I think one of the really cool things about it is, you guys talked a little bit about how, like Alabama football, you would think Alabama football is going to generate exorbitant amounts of money when it comes to NIL, which they do. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Bryce Young is doing quite well when it comes to NIL stuff. But the cool thing is that you've got companies out there. I mean, TikTok is such a massive platform right now. And there could be, I know I follow golf videos all the time. And there's all these like challenges that these golfers will do. It'll be a D1 golfer versus a D2 golfer versus, just someone who just goes out and plays, right? Those guys may have, or girls may have, 1 million or so followers on TikTok. They're just as valuable to businesses as some of these, high name Division 1 basketball, football players. Even more so, because now all of a sudden you're looking at Titleist giving some sort of sponsorships. You bring in new sorts of NIL deals to the fold. And it's really cool because it's not just centered around men's, women's basketball and football, like, a lot of people thought it would. I think a lot of that's driving the early force of it. But I think down the road, I mean, this thing can really benefit everyone. It doesn't have to just be, sport specific, gender specific. I mean, anyone can benefit from this. I mean, you just got to have a clean, you got to own your own business, and you got to market yourself, and you got to do things the right way on your social media platforms. But shoot, you can earn some money playing now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think athletes now have even more of an advantage, with social media, because, when our age group, when we were in high school, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I think probably when we were in high school, it was like MySpace, like Facebook's
I think
like these guys are these athletes are growing.
Coming in.
Yeah, like, so these athletes now, I mean, they were like 8 years old and they had a Twitter or a Facebook, or they were 12 and they were on Instagram, going Instagram Live. So they understand social media. Obviously we do now, but we didn't grow up with it. So athletes that are growing up with it, I think if they use it to their advantage and they use it in the right way and they market themselves the right way, and, they're active and they post, things that can help them like you said, their individual, basically, business grow. I think it's something that can really benefit them and help them make money based on their abilities and their talents.
Yeah, and I think one thing that, we're learning this as we've done PCC is all about branding. And, you've got to sell your brand. And each of these student athletes now that are being able to get these NIL deals, they are now their own brand. And so if they can sell their brand to the world, whatever it may be, then I mean, that's what they've got to be conscious of, is like they are now a brand. They are now able to go out there and, promote themselves and try and get some money. And I mean, it can be as much as $1 million deals, or it can be, smaller deals of $1,000, or something like that, or a $50 shout out on something. I saw that Texas's quarterback Ewers is nearing $4 million in NIL money. Like, that's insane. But
Yeah, he needs
he's in a
to
huge
figure out
market.
how to get some more years of eligibility.
Yeah, no kidding. So how's
Need
the
another year.
how's
Get a
when
waiver.
you've been so Bryce, when you've been talking to um, you know, players and these businesses, kind of what's your thoughts on it? Do people understand NIL, or is there just a lack of, really full understanding and comprehension?
Well, I think, and like Matt said, for so long it was so taboo for everyone to speak money and scholarship and money in college basketball. So it takes, and I think initially it's crazy, you hear on the phone calls, it's almost people don't, like you said, don't know how to respond to it, because it's just never been an option, and nor has it been an option. But like I said, it's just been out there that it's just so wrong, and I've read enough, and there's been enough research now to know that it is beneficial to the players. And there is so much revenue streaming through them and through college athletes that enough experts have said and did enough research to know that this is going to be beneficial to everyone that is involved, obviously, because we said that everyone is so marketable. And I think dating back, there is a correlation that I've seen with, like Matt said again, how these players and these athletes, women and men, when they've established these social media platforms and they've gotten so many followers, that also had to tell the NCAA, look, this is concrete proof that these students at X college in the OVC, in the MEAC, these guys have significant amount of followers, and obviously there needs to be marketability for them. Now, with that being said, now I've talked to players at the highest level in regards to PCC and us representing them. It's a lot of fun, because they now know it's more than just saying hello to someone. It's, you are representing that company. So for a younger person in their teens and 20s, that is tough. And I think initially that's where we come in, a lot of times, because it's easy to be kind of the mediator in between, a deal of that significance. If you're representing yourself and someone's paying money for you to be, marketable for their business, a lot of times that, that it seems like it's a gray area. But, now with the NIL, it just needs someone, that's credible and that knows the business to kind of step in and mediate that. And that's what I've seen a lot. I think players are going to be willing, and what I've seen thus far, to let us mediate, because it's such a gray area for everyone that, guys like us, thank goodness for us, but there's other companies out there too that just have, they've kind of laid the groundwork for us to kind of see where we need to go to help guys.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, when you talk about NIL, I mean, it's not like these. I mean, we've all been in the business. We all heard the rumors. It was a taboo thing to talk about, but athletes were getting paid already. I mean, and it was. You talked about you saw the FBI probes and all that stuff. You hear about, bagmans and money drops and things like that. And now NIL just brings everything to the surface. It makes it legal. And it honestly, in my opinion, it cleans it up a little bit. Now, I mean, you're still going to get the griminess, and you're still going to get some shadiness. That's just kind of the way it is in the world. But at least it allows a little bit more control and be able to actually make sure that, things are being done the right way. At the end of the day, everyone's still trying to figure it out. We're still trying to figure it out. Rules change, every day. It almost seems like, and new legislation's coming out, and as they start figuring this stuff out. So
Yeah, for sure. The thing that really interests me maybe the most is it'll be interesting to see what programs, what head coaches, what staffs really embrace NIL and use it to their advantage in recruiting, and what ones fall behind and don't want to do it until they're losing because of NIL. Because it's not going anywhere, it's going to continue to expand. I kind of look at it almost like the social media era. When social media came out, I mean, there wasn't a lot of Division I coaches that were big on social media, but there's guys out there, like one of my favorites to kind of follow is Coach Musselman at Arkansas. Obviously we coached Trey Wade, who ended up going there for his last year, and was a starter on I think they made it to Elite Eight. But anyway, you follow Arkansas basketball on Twitter, and they're putting out stuff every day, and they're putting out little videos, fun videos, commercials, all this different content. And you're always paying attention. Like, it's always popping up on my feed. And then once a week I see Trey, getting a dunk in practice, or maybe they're doing some community service or something like that. So you're always keeping tabs on Trey. I don't even talk, it doesn't mean I'm not talking to him once a week, but I'm always seeing what he's doing, so it's like, it helps. So it's so much exposure. And I mean, you think about it, all the parents out there and the high school kids, they're getting 2-3 NBA caliber players a year now, and it's because of social media. It's because people know who they are. It's because they've built a brand. And then obviously they're doing NIL as well. So it's like, it'll be interesting to see what programs really embrace it and really run with it and make the most of it. And it'll be kind of interesting to see what programs just like, no, we're not touching that. Like, we're not doing that. And then when they fall behind.
Yeah, and I also think it's going to be interesting to see which programs really embrace it. So obviously, like you talked about the top five, the Power 5, Power 6 conferences, whatever you want to call them, they're going to get the money. Like, that's just kind of a thing. But it's going to be interesting to see if some of these quote unquote lower market value schools, as people think of them, they could really use NIL to their advantage, and they could really blow some stuff up if they just go out there and they really embrace it. I mean, the sky's the limit. If you think about, hey, I'm in this location, there's not a high major school for however far or whatever, or some of their kids just have active social media accounts or whatnot. I mean, you can start generating some money, and you could do that in a hurry.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you have people that are really within the athletic department that embrace it, obviously it starts at the top, I'm sure. But even with the coaching staffs, guys that say, okay, hey, this is the way it is. You can do things a certain way. It's not like you got to post 42 times a day. But if you're active and you post quality content, and you keep the fans and the boosters and the advertisers, and people like that. People like seeing what's going on, and I think it just brings so much attention, and it helps your players, and it's going to help in recruiting for sure. I mean, what top 25 kid isn't on Twitter? What top 50 kid isn't on Twitter? Hey, think about all the kids that we haven't heard of that are good players, but they're all active. So they might see, like you said, they might see the low to mid major school that's 2 hours down the road, and they're not getting high major schools, but that coach is always on there, and when the players and and they're active, people know who they are. Then all of a sudden, hey, like, I'm gonna check that school out. So I think if it's done the right way, you can really boost your program, and it can help in recruiting for sure. I mean, at least it's going to bring more awareness to what you got going on.
Yeah.
I think, and as you said, I think that comes with it as well. And we know, I put a lot of faith in my players over the years. I trusted them with a lot of things, but I also knew in the college setting, and we all know this, that we are a shoulder to lean on. So like you said, once the assistant coaches and staffs come on board, I feel like it'll be easier for the players to then, like everything, become more aware of it, just because how close relationships are amongst teams. So just, yeah, the trickle down effect will happen. And I think, a lot of it will come from staffs and teams becoming, a beneficiary of it and winning conference championships, because, their recruiting class was pretty high that year.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt it'll be interesting moving forward, and it'd be fun for us to keep building and hopefully get more teams involved with us, because we're getting in front of it, and we're involved early and learning the best way to do certain things. And I think that'll be great for everybody involved, because like we've been saying, it's not going anywhere. So sooner you figure it out, I think the better off you're going to be.
And
Yeah.
that also it plays the same role with the restaurants, with the companies throughout the community. That's new to them as well. I've spoke to them directly. There's millions of sports fans out there, college sports fans. And not being in the athletic world, it definitely takes them aback for a few seconds. And then, it's not a difficult thing to understand, I don't think, for anyone. I think, it's, a marketability. And so again, if it's a trickle down effect, so the community then will, see more, as one coach was worried about the other coach, I feel like one car dealership may be worried about the next car dealership of having, 3 players or 5 players and or this businesses. So, competition is a great thing. And I think that comes along with it as well.
Yeah. So,
Trickle down is a good way to put it. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I think, one of the things that, just for viewers out there, what we do is we're the intermediary. And so we help the student athletes connect with businesses, or these different programs, and then we help the businesses connect with the student athletes. So we're the intermediary, really trying to educate these athletes on, hey, clean up your social media. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. We're essentially, we're still coaching, but we're coaching them through how to build their brand. We're offering that educational service, and we don't charge them anything. That's one of the cool things. We don't charge any of the athletes, and we don't charge the programs or the universities either. And so, it really just lends itself to really helping those kids out, because more often than not, they know they can get NIL money, but they don't know what the heck they're doing. They don't know how to, go and market themselves, or, what are they going to do? Show up to a business in, let's just say, Dallas. They show up to some business in Dallas, Texas, and they just walk in the front door and they say, hey, I want NIL money. Like, what can I get NIL money? No one knows what to do. And so we take that away from them, with the outreach and stuff like that, and really broker it so that they're not awkward and trying to figure it out. We kind of take that on for them.
Yeah. It's hard. You think about back when we were, 18 to 22. There's no way we've been able to figure this out.
No.
And also I think it's great for, we're not in the gym teaching them footwork and, how to read a ball screen and, how to get to the helpline and things like that. But kind of what we're able to do now is we're helping them in real life in a lot of ways, because if you learn when you're 18, 19, 20, how to build your own brand, or how to build your social media, or how to, be professional doing certain things. Now, when you're 23, 24, 25, you're looking for a job, you've already done it and you have some experience. But when you do graduate college, have a 4-year degree, have a master's degree, yeah, a lot of guys and girls aren't going to ever make money playing the sport. So the way it is. So you got to get a job. So when you have some experience with the advertisers and companies and meeting people and doing things in a professional way, I mean, that's only going to help you moving forward when it is time, when your playing days are over and you're trying to get a job.
Yeah, I mean, we go through it every day. We went through it when we were coaching. It's all about networking. When we can open one door and then you keep building your network, and then you don't know 5 years down the line that door that you had cracked open, all of a sudden it opens wide up, and you can walk on in and you have a good job, first time out of college, and you don't really have to do much because you put in the work and you did what you were supposed to do, in terms of the NIL stuff, and you get the business's support, and then all of a sudden, it just becomes easier. Like you said, you've got that real life experience, hands-on experience on building a brand, sales, doing what you need to do, keeping updated on social media, new trends, everything that's out there.
Yeah, and it goes right along with in life too, controlling and how you market yourself and take care of your brand. You will see revenue coming in. So in real life, a lot of that time it applies. If for myself, if you're not becoming the best coach you can be that year, it's hard to get hired the next year. So then that goes right along with what you guys are saying. It's a lot. A lot of it comes with, as soon as NIL began, so much control went to the player, and that control itself is experience. It can go one way or the other. Once it's in your hands, that's, only you can control what you can control. I've heard a lot of head coaches say that in practice. So, I think that helps a lot in life.
Yeah.
No
Well,
doubt.
anyone have any last thoughts? Otherwise, we can wrap this thing up. And it's another week of PCC. This was episode 3. We'll be back next week. We'll have another special guest, and be sure to tune in.